God bless you.
I want to speak to you briefly about 5 points. First of all, we want to talk about the impotent man. Secondly, the place where healing was expected. Thirdly, the obstacles he encountered. Fourth, the duration of his suffering. And finally, we want to talk to you about the ultimate source of his deliverance. First, we want to talk about the impotent man. God bless you, ushers. This man in our text today is representative of so many people, even many who are present here at Temple of Deliverance at this time. He represents countless thousands who will view this service on television, hear it through some form of electronic transcription. He is categorized in the language of the King James Version of the Holy Bible as having an infirmity. The New International Version, the NIV version, states that he was an invalid. Now, the word impotent is defined as not potent, lacking in power, strength, or vigor, helpless. And the word invalid is to suffer from a disease or disability, to be sickly. An invalid is one who is sickly or disabled. The contemporary English version, CEV, it simply says that the man was sick. This man is therefore representative of anyone who is presently in need of healing. God heals the total panorama, the total of all humanity. Somebody said when I was talking about healing at the beginning, he's not talking about me. I'm physically sound. You may be physically sound, but you may be suffering from a broken heart. God says in Isaiah that he heals the stroke of their wounds. Not only does he talk about healing the stroke, but he says he bindeth up the breach. That means he heals relationships. And many times there are breaches that need to be healed. People sleeping in the same bed and can't hold a conversation. Secondly, let's look at the place where he was. He was at a place where healing was expected. He was at the pool of Bethesda. The name Bethesda itself meant house of mercy or house of grace. And when you consider the meaning of that name, Bethesda, you can very well compare it to the church. A place of mercy, a place of grace. So this is where the man was. He was in a place where healing was to be expected. Sometimes we, like the impotent man, are at the place, but we are disappointed when we do not receive healing, even in the place where it is expected. Oh, I'm looking at people, some who have been to so many revivals, healing revivals, been in so many healing services, been in so many prayer lines, been anointed with oil so many times, and look like your healing still will not come. I want to tell you, it doesn't matter how many services you've been in and did not get your healing. Don't run away in despair and in disgust, because sooner or later, in the midst of our shouting and dancing and praising God, some are doing it just because they're getting their weekly exercise. But sooner or later, if you wait around the church, after a while, in the midst of our praise, Jesus himself is going to show up. And when he shows up, whatever you need, it will be taken care of. Let's look at the third point, the obstacles he encountered. Now, we do not know all of the obstacles and conditions which were working against this man, but two things were obvious. First, the limited opportunities afforded him. And secondly, the lack of support when his opportunity came. This limited opportunity was even more critical in that after the angel troubled the water, only one person, the first person to enter the pool, would be healed. If you were not first, you would get nothing. Oh my God. Can you imagine if it were like that today? Here we have somewhere probably between 25 and 2,600 people in this building, and the glory of God come in. And can you imagine? Nobody could get blessed but one person. And the only way you would get blessed, you had to be first. Some of us have never been first in anything. Some of us are slow. Slow in our physical steps. Slow of understanding. Slow to believe. Slow to catch on. But it doesn't matter whether you are first or last. All you got to do is get in his presence. Number 4 thing I want to talk about is the duration of his suffering. Glory to God. I want you to understand that this man for 38 years, long, hard, difficult years, he had been an invalid, impotent, without the strength to support himself. I believe that John recorded this situation to reassure you that it doesn't matter how long you have been in the shape that you are in, there is still hope for you. I speak to those who are caught up in a long-term drug habit. I speak to those who are addicted to alcohol, chemically dependent. I speak to you no matter how long you've been in it. Even your loved ones have given up on you. We don't find anything about this man having any family, and if he had family, after 38 years, they didn't come to see him anymore. This man had been sick for so long until nobody seemed to have been around with any concern for him or knowledge of him. But the thing about it is the longevity of his sickness was the very thing that caught the Lord's attention. And this brings me to my final point. The source of his healing.